Uh, in this section, we have been asked we have been asked by the examiner to draw a wiring diagram showing lamp L1 and L2 being controlled from 3 different positions. Already, when you have been asked a very simple question like this one, you need to know that we need to have lamp 1 and 2, two pieces. We need to have one gang, two-way switch, two pieces. We need to have an intermediate switch, one piece, and the chambers, which are the wires which will assist us to do wiring. Already, we can see we have done our wiring. These are lamps. This one, this is a two-way switch. This is another two-way switch. This is an intermediate switch. Intermediate. So, if there was a door here, here and here, when you come in, you can switch on, switch off, switch on. If you need to go outside, you can switch off, on, off, on. That's how these questions was required you to answer it. This is how you are required to answer the question when you have been asked by your examiner to draw it. So that's a very simple. That's like 2 marks, and that's 30 marks. Already you have. That's section 2. That's our section video 2 we are doing. Another thing, you need to they will test you if you know sockets, power sockets, if you can differentiate between radio and the ring. Radio and the ring, you know ring very well. If this is our sockets, this is socket 1, this is socket 2, this is socket 1, this is socket 2. If it is radio, the cable is required to enter without coming back to the radio. It means if the cable starts from this end, it does not go back to the nut, it continues. But if it's ring socket, the cable enters here, it goes to this socket, then it comes back to where it came from. That this is a ring socket. A ring socket, the cable rotates. It comes to center in a rudi. They will test that area. Another thing, sizing and installation of protective devices. They will test you if you know difference between MCCB and MCB. They will test you where you can use 63 amperes, 100 amperes, 32 amperes, 20 amperes, 10 or 8 amperes. You You know 10, this is for the lighting, this is for the sockets, this is for the cooker, these are for the sub-mains, these are for the mains, and these are for the sub-mains. So you need to know these things. They will ask you very seriously during written and oral. They will ask you, and you must very sure with what you are talking about. And also they will ask you about identification and the use of special protective devices. They will ask you more about these devices, installation, protective devices. This one, or also they will ask you instrumentation and the types of electrical measuring instrument. They will ask you about earth resistance tester. Earth resistance tester, how does it work, and the readings. You will be asked the mode of working, and expected reading, the expected reading. So you need to know earth resistance tester, where it is being used, and expected reading. That's number one. This is number two. They will ask you loop impedance tester. They will ask you about loop impedance tester. They will ask you mode of working and the expected reading. Number three, they will ask you about insulation resistance tester. Insulation resistance tester, you need to know that one. They will ask you about insulation resistance tester. They will ask the mode of working and the expected reading. You need to know the expected reading in every machine. Number four, they will ask you about multimeter. How the multimeter is being used. You will tell more about the mode of working and the connection of it. Mostly without forgetting, multimeter works hand in hand with the clamp multimeter. So you need to know. They will test you. They know that you don't know, but they will try to convince you if you know how those machines are rated to another one. And number five, they can ask you, as a technician, it's not a must you know as a single phase only. You need to know even a three phase, because they know you know a three phase. So they can ask, so I am not sure, but I know they must ask you more about phase tester. They will ask you more about the mode of working, and they will confuse you about the reading. They will confuse you to tell you more about the readings of these machines. Also, so you need to know these instruments of electrical and instrumentation and types of electrical measurement instruments. These are the instruments we use in electrical field. We have earth resistance tester, we have loop impedance tester, we have insulation resistance tester, we have multimeter or clamp multimeter. They work hand in hand. We have phase tester. So you need to know very well the function of a phase tester. A phase tester is to check if there is a fault in one phase or there is a forward or reverse. Mostly it can work to check if there is a fault in electrical phase, or it can check if the motor has been mounted in forward or reverse. So this works in 2 dimensions. Number one, as I've said, to check the fault phase. Another thing, to check whether the motor is running back or forward. Without forgetting earth resistant tester. The expected reading, I can tell you, and go and do your research. You need to get 5 less than. You need to get 5 ohms, less than 5 ohms. And they will ask you a very simple question: if the resistance is very high, what you are required to do as a competent technician? Number one, what you are required to do is to add charcoal. Just add charcoal. Number two, if the resistance is very high, just add what we call salt until this resistance comes to less than 5 ohms. That is the correct reading you need to get after you have done your test using earth resistant tester. If the resistivity is too high, you need to add charcoal to the mother ground or salt. Or if you have both, you can add, depending your area where you are doing earthing. And loop, insulation, multimeter, you can check and know more about those machines. Another thing, you will be asked the selection of cables, current carrying capacity, and color coding. So you will be tested. Here is where most engineers, they will be very, very strict when they are asking you these questions. Cable selection, as I have said earlier, 1.5 is used. Let's start with 1.0. 1.0, it's used in pale circuit. 1.5, it is used in lighting. 1.0 millimeter square, it's used in pale circuit. 1.0 millimeter cubic is used in lighting. 2.5 millimeter cubic is used in sockets. 4.0 millimeter cubic is used in shower, and 6.0 millimeter cubic is used in cooker, and 10.0 millimeter cubic like sub mains, and 20.0 mm 25 is used as mains. So you need to know these cables and the color code. We know color code. We know red stands for live wire. This is live. Black, this is a neutral. Yellow, this stands for earth. So you need to know these simple things, because you will be tested, and they will be very strict when it comes to these protected devices, circuit breaker and MCCB and MCB. They will be very strict on those questions when it comes to those questions. And these machines, you must be very sure when you are answering questions concerning these electrical machines. And when it comes to cable rating, you need to know 1.0 where it is being used, 1.5 up to 10. They will ask you even the color coding. They will ask you a very simple question: if in your site red cable, red cable, there's no red cable in your side. Will you use black and yellow? But I know most technicians, they will use that one, but in that area you will be saying no, no, no until you finish your interview. And area of assessment, they will ask you, it is rating of selection of protective devices like fuse, MCB, MCCB. So they will ask you where you are required to use 63. As we have said, 63 is being used in as supplements. This is a double pole. We call it as a double pole. 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 This is a double pole. This MCCP you will get it in a CCU, in a consumer control unit. In a consumer control unit. This is where you will get this one. This double pole of MCCB of 100 amperes, you will get this one in a meter box. This MCCB, the function of this 100 amperes is to receive power. To receive power from, like if you are in Kenya, to receive power from Kenya Power. And 32, it is MCB, this is so MCB. It is used in cooker circuits to draw, because cooker draw a lot of current. That is why we are using 32. 20, it's used in sockets, because sockets we don't have too much appliances, so we use 20. 10 amperes, we use it in lighting circuits. So you need to be very careful when you are answering your question. Mostly this is the question of protective devices, and the cables, they go hand to hand. So you need to be very careful when you are selecting those questions. Another thing you will be asked, it's all about selection of lumina, selection of lightings. You will be asked selection of lighting. So you need to know the lights which you will put in washrooms. Number 2, like in car wash. Number 3, the light you will put in your sitting room, or we call it living room. Number 4, let us talk about this one. So number 1, selection of lighting. In washroom, you need to put your light which is a waterproof. Reason here there's water. In case if water comes contact with electricity, there will be a very serious accident. It may cause even death into somebody who was bathing in this room. So you must put a waterproof or an LED, a ceiling panel light, so that you can minimize death. Another light you will put here in car wash is a waterproof. This is a waterproof which is very bright. We need the bright light here, because we are doing cleaning. We don't want to do what we call a petty job. So we need our car to be very, very clean. That's why we must put a very bright light here, so that you can. In a living room, we need a warm light. Yeah, a warm light or a daylight. Yeah? which is not more bright. Note that in this area we don't need bright, more bright, not bright, more bright. We don't need more bright, because reason being we don't want more bright, because you will get your TV is on and other appliances like laptop is on, so there are some little light we need so that we can see clear picture on our TV. So you need selection of your lighting. You need to be very careful, and they will ask you which light you can use. Just say you can use an LED. This light emitting diode. This is for reason being you are using this one. This one is for power consumption. Power consumption. LED consumes little power than fluorescent. A fluorescent consumes a lot of power. Reason being, it has what we call choke in it. It has a TX, you know a TX. It has a transformer. It has a starter. All these kinds before this light comes home. It has taken a lot of current. It has drawn a lot of current to lights. Another thing, you will be testing and commission of domestic electrical installation. You will be asked how to commission, before you commission, before you give, before you test, or you commission, or before you give your project to the owner. What are the things as a competent technician you need to do? Number one, as a competent technician, you need to do tests before you give your client his project. Number one, you need to do these tests. You need to do what you call earth resistance test to check if earthing is good. You need to do loop impedance test. You need to do an insulation resistance test. You need to do continued test, polarity test. Those are the tests you need to do before you give out your project to the owner. Reason being because you are doing this test is to make that your project is secure from injuries and accidents, even from death, from human being even to the domestic. And you will be tested in earthing domestic installation. You will be asked more about the earthing, so you need to know types of earthing. You will be asked a very simple one, even you will be asked to talk more about this PME. So this is a mode of earthing. So you will be asked to talk more about PME. You will be asked types of earthing, application areas of earthing, precautions of earthing, advantage of earthing, disadvantage of earthing. So you need to be very careful in this area, because without knowing earthing, I can tell you you cannot be given a license by EPRA. Another area to ask you more questions about electrical safety requirements, including how to perform first aid. They will ask you more types of first aid, more about first aid. Which first aid do you know? Tools used in first aid. So you need to know on that area before you go, but mostly you need to know everything. As electrical concern, even though you are going to do in a single phase, electrical is I can tell you for free that electrical is a forest. You need to know. I can tell you what we have talked about today, and you can go to that exam. You are being asked total things which we did not talk here. So I can tell you that electrical is a forest. You need to know more about electrical, and mostly where they can ask you the questions. So with those what we have learned today, for those who need this booklet to check the requirements of C2, those who have done electrical, you need to be licensed, who have done the wireman, who have done craft diploma, need to be licensed by EPRA. We have the requirements for the class C2, class C1, class B, class A1, class A2 for the generators, class A2 for the lift and the excavators, and you need to know about voltage levels as defined in the Energy Act of 2019. We know voltage not exceeding. You need to, for those who are going to do C2, you are not required to do more than 1000 volts. You are required to do not exceeding 1000 under normal conditions. That is for those who are going to do for C2. And for those another recommend is that a building with one level or of floor is considered a single story building. A building with a basement, a ground floor, and one upper floor is considered as a three-story building. So do not go and build a house with the basement, ground floor, and first floor, so that you need to convince us that that is a first floor. That's not a first floor or a second floor. That is a third floor. So you need to be very careful when you are engaging your license with another contractor. Before you engage your license with a contractor, know the specific job he or she is going to do with your license. Without following up with your contractor, you are going to lose your license, and you are going to lose your license forever and ever. It is those what we have done today, and those who need to do this exam, you can talk, we help each other. Asanteni sana.